The team in Harbin, who made this cup from bamboo, closed a problem that has been sitting open since 1863, when an advertisement offered $10,000 to anyone who could stop the killing of elephants. Plastic began as a plant. It spent the next century and a half becoming oil, and the reason for that switch was never cost. What follows is the problem that drove plastic off plants, what the Harbin team did about it, and why the thing standing between this material and a supermarket shelf has nothing to do with chemistry. The advertisement was placed by a billiards manufacturer named Michael Phelan. Ivory had become expensive and hard to source, and a decent set of balls took tusks from several elephants. Phelan wanted a substitute, and his terms were exacting. It had to keep its shape through changes in temperature, weigh what ivory weighed, and cost at least half as much. The man who went after it was a printer in Albany, New York, called John Wesley Hyatt. He was in his early 30s, with no chemical training. He started from a material an Englishman named Alexander Parks had made a few years earlier and failed to sell, a form of cellulose treated with nitric acid. Cellulose is what plants are built from. It sits in every trunk, every stem, and every blade of grass, and it is the most abundant polymer on the planet. Hyatt found that camphor, under moderate heat and pressure, would soften nitrated cellulose enough to mold it. He and his brother Isaiah patented the result in 1870 and named it celluloid. So the first plastic came out of a plant, and it worked. Combs, dental plates, toothbrush handles, dolls, and eventually, the film stock that cinema was built on. It carried a flaw Hyatt could not remove. Making cellulose moldable meant nitrating it, and nitrated cellulose sits in the same chemical family as gun cotton. Celluloid burns fast and hot, and film archives have lost entire collections to it. The story that celluloid billiard balls detonated on impact is a myth, one Hyatt seems to have enjoyed repeating, and it survived because the material's reputation made it easy to believe. He never claimed the $10,000. No record shows anyone else claiming it either. In 1907, a Belgian chemist working in New York, Leo Baekeland, produced Bakelite, the first material containing nothing found in nature. It molded cleanly, it did not burn the way celluloid did, and it could be made in quantity from coal tar and later from oil. The industry took that road and has been on it ever since. What kept it there is a property of cellulose that no amount of demand can argue with. Cellulose does not melt. Heat a plastic made from oil, and its chains slide past one another, which is what lets a machine force it into a mold. Heat cellulose, and it chars instead. The chains are pinned to each other by a dense network of hydrogen bonds, and those bonds hold past the temperature at which the molecule itself starts breaking down. Cellulose reaches its decomposition point before it ever reaches a point where it flows. Hyatt's answer was to attack the molecule chemically. Nitration got him something moldable at the price of turning it into a substance the environment no longer read as a plant. Everything since has hit the same wall, from one side or the other. Grind wood or bamboo fiber into a resin, and the result is strong, but the resin is still oil, and the composite will not break down. Ferment plant sugar into a polymer like PLA, and it breaks down, but it loses its shape not far above 60 degrees, which rules it out of anything holding hot liquid. Bioplastics that degrade have tended to be weak. Bioplastics that perform have tended not to degrade. The Harbin group went after the hydrogen bonds and left the molecule alone. Their paper ran in Nature Communications in October 2025 out of the Key Laboratory of Bio-Based Material Science and Technology at Northeast Forestry University, with a collaborator at Shenyang University of Chemical Technology. The method has two steps, and neither one needs high heat. They soak bamboo cellulose in a solvent mixed from zinc chloride and formic acid that pulls the hydrogen bond network apart, frees the chains, and turns the material into something that can be shaped. Then ethanol goes in, and the freed chains lock back together in a new arrangement, packing tighter and forming more bonds than they held in the living plant. The chemistry of the molecule never changes. What comes out is still cellulose, which is why soil gets through it in 50 days. Bacteria have been eating cellulose since before there were trees. The mechanical numbers are where it stops being a laboratory curiosity. The material takes 110 megapascals of tension before it fails, which puts it above the common engineering plastics used for car interiors and printed parts. It also holds together past 180 degrees, hotter than any dishwasher cycle and well past boiling. It can be injection, molded, cast, or cut on a machine tool, and it has 2 exits rather than 1. Because the bonds were never chemically altered, the same solvent that opened them the first time will open them again, so a finished part can be dissolved back and reformed. Whatever misses the collection system rots in the ground instead. The feedstock is the quieter advantage. Bamboo grows up to a meter a day and yields several times more material per hectare than timber, and nobody eats it. Earlier bioplastics leaned on corn and sugarcane and ended up competing with food, which the Harbin authors name directly as a problem they wanted around. There is a reason this came out of Harbin and not a European polymer laboratory. China restricted single-use plastics from 2020 and tightened the rules the year after, which built a domestic market for substitutes before anyone had a good one. Bamboo became the official answer to that gap. The substitution program has run for years and has gone well past chopsticks. Bamboo tableware and film bags sit on ordinary shelves. Bamboo wound composite pipe is being laid in trenches in Sichuan. Earlier this year, a tilt-rotor drone flew in Tianjin with a quarter of its airframe and all of its skin made from bamboo composite. A country that has decided to replace plastic with grass will fund the laboratory that works out how. So Phelan's advertisement finally has an answer, 163 years late and in a form nobody in 1863 would have recognized. Hyatt made cellulose moldable by changing what it was. The Harbin method makes it moldable by changing how it is held together and leaving the chemistry where it found it. None of which means the plastic in a kitchen drawer is about to change. Bioplastics of every type, from every feedstock, came to roughly 2.5 million tons of production last year. Global plastic production runs past 400 million. That is about half of 1%, and the share has barely shifted in a decade because oil-based output keeps climbing too. Cost explains most of it. Bioplastics carry a premium over petroleum plastics that runs anywhere from 20% to double, depending on the material and the market. Packaging is a business of fractions of a cent per unit, and a material costing half as much, again, does not get specified, whatever it does on a test rig. Disposal explains the rest. One assessment last year put the share of municipal waste systems able to handle compostable plastic at around 15%. 50 days in soil buys nothing in a sealed landfill, and that figure came from controlled burial. Thickness, temperature, moisture, and soil all move it. There is also the gap every material has to cross. The paper describes bench production. A process using zinc chloride and formic acid has to survive being run by the ton at a price, with the solvent recovered rather than dumped, and most promising materials die on that step rather than in the laboratory. My read is that the hard part is finished, and the dull part is not. For a century, the industry had a real defense, which was that nothing plant-based could take the heat, the load, and the machining. That defense has stopped being true. A material holding 110 megapascals that can be turned on a lathe answers it on its own terms. What is left is price and waste collection. Both are duller than molecular chemistry, and both are harder because neither one gives way to a good experiment. They give way to procurement rules, landfill charges, and bans. Italy built a compostable packaging industry by banning ordinary carrier bags in 2011 and letting the market rearrange itself afterwards. Forever is the wrong word for what changed here. Nothing in that Harbin laboratory replaces plastic. What it removes is the last technical excuse for staying with oil. An advertisement in 1863 that nobody collected on. A printer softening gun cotton with camphor. A Belgian chemist building the first material with nothing natural in it. A hydrogen bond network that would char before it would flow. And a solvent in Harbin that pulled that network apart and let it close again tighter than the plant had managed. Bamboo grows a meter a day. Whether any of it reaches a shelf comes down to what a supermarket will pay per unit, and nobody in a laboratory gets a vote on that. If that was worth the time, hit the like button and subscribe for more of these. There is one thing worth settling in the comments. A takeaway box that costs the restaurant 50% more and disappears in soil in 50 days. Ban the cheap version outright, the way Italy did with carrier bags, or leave it to buyers and accept that most of them pick the cheaper box. Pick a side and say why. I read every one.